Okay, good afternoon, everybody. So let's commence today's class. Maybe I will just wait one more minute for people to turn up. So, yes, okay, so there is half the class is here. So let's start. So let me share my screen. So the first thing, so I had asked you all of you to make a project the assignment groups. So I don't see anybody. I mean, other than two groups, none of rest of you have done. Is there any reason why you're finding any difficulty making groups? What's going on? Yes, anybody? Siddharth, have you formed a group?
Yes, sir. Actually, we have, but we have not yet filled it up in the document.
Okay,
I'll
so
just
all
do it
of
afternoon.
after the class, yeah, after the class, everyone please fill it up. Please try to do it by 5 or by even by today evening. Please try to fill up. Okay, so I am planning to give you more assignments to do because this course, it has theoretical part, but it is also implementation oriented. You have to learn by doing it. Okay, so that is why since undergraduate students don't have a lab component, I have made a larger group, so you are permitted to have 6 or 7 members. Okay, and I will try to give you options also, so that you don't have to do most of it. Okay, but you have to make groups. Okay, there is because I think I will increase the assignment weightage more. So let me just wait for a few weeks to see how it is going, and then I will announce the exact breakdown before your midterms. But please make the groups. Okay, so that's a very important thing. Okay, so now let's finally come to the central theme, which is machine learning, and let us try to look at it properly. Okay, so now we were discussing Bayes classifier. We had started it. In fact, I wouldn't say we even started it, but yeah, we were going here. Okay, so now you must have, I don't know, in your previous AI course, or if you have done courses, from various sources that are there in YouTube, you would be wondering why Bayes classifier. Okay, so there are several reasons for this. Okay, so one of the most, there are few reasons. Let me list a few why we are studying this the first. Okay, this is the best classifier. Okay, this is the best classifier. If you can properly design it, it will beat all your neural networks. Okay, so this is better than everything. Neural networks, it's better than uh, the SVM, whatever you think of, logistic regression, all of this, it is better than that, provided it falls. I mean, you are able to really confirm your classifier actually has to be a Bayes classifier. Your assumptions have to be true. It is better than all of this. Okay, and secondly, this has a sound theoretical basis, sound theory. Okay, and moreover, this is something that you will realize at the end of the course. It does not have problems of overfitting, underfitting, and all. Okay, so all this you don't know now. I mean, I don't expect you to know these things, but you will see at the end of the course that this is actually having even this feature. Okay, so for these reasons, Bayes classifier is the most important classifier, and that is why we are studying it first. So I will also make you implement Bayes classifier in the next assignment. Okay, so the assignments, I will try to make it close to every 10 days. Okay, and that way you get a hands-on on all of these things. So but it's important that please finalize your groups by today evening. So if you have any problems creating groups, please let me know, and then we can collect people who are not able to form groups and make them into a single group. Okay. All right. So this is the reason why we are studying Bayes classifier. Okay. It's not because of any other reason. This is the, and moreover, another reason which I failed to did not mention. So many other classifiers are also a Bayes classifier. You will see what I mean soon. So for this reason, we are studying this. Okay, so it's a important classifier. It's worthwhile to study this. All right. So with this introduction, let us begin Bayes classifier properly. So let us again revisit our. We are going to have in the discussion of Bayes classifier a single running example, and the running example is of a bank. Okay, so bank looks at a customer and the customer, so we call a customer as X. Okay, so that is like X is the set of all features associated with the customer, and we need to predict default, which means if you give him a loan, loan is not paid back. Okay, so not paid, or no default, which means he's a honest customer. So this is what you need to predict. Okay, so this is what is the task at hand. This is the running example that we will use for much of the discussion on Bayes classifier. Okay, now when we were looking at it last week, so we defined a few notations. So let us just talk about that. So script X, okay, this is the set of all values of the feature. Okay, then small x belonging to X is a instance. Okay, y of X is a label. So it's a label. So it could be default, which we will call it as 1, and no default, we will call it as 0. Okay, so this is what is the setup. And then what we need is to design basically H, which goes from script X to Y. Okay, so we need to predict whether a given customer is going to default or not. So that is our classification. This is called as a classifier. Okay, and what we need to do is we need to choose best classifier. Okay, so let us write that. We need best classifier. Okay, so this is what we need. And of the many things that you can think of, which is the best classifier, the one which we will use is we will use the metric. So our metric will be probability that H of X is not equal to Y of X. This is our metric. Okay, so we are going to look at for an instance, what is the probability that Y of X, which is the actual label is something else, but our classifier is predicting something else. We would like to choose, okay, we would like to choose this. So you want to choose a hypothesis which minimizes this probability, and that hypothesis is our best hypothesis. So this is what we would like to choose. So this is also called as a hypothesis or a classifier. Okay, we want to choose this. Fine. Are there any questions so far? Okay, so now we will look at this problem starting from the most simple case, and then slowly we will build on to more and more complicated cases, and then finally we will finish the whole Bayes classifier itself, and then we will move on from here. Okay, so this we will develop in stages. So we will start slowly. So this is something we will do. So we will start with a simple case. So this is setup 0. Okay, so setup 0 is you are given what is called as prior probabilities. Prior probabilities known. So what does that mean? So let us say P0 is the probability that y of x is equal to 0, and P1 is the probability that y of x is equal to 1. Okay, and in the particular example that we are going to consider here, we will assume that probability of not default is 0.8 and probability of default is 0.2. Okay, okay, so this is all the information that we have. What we would like to do, so maybe sometimes I will use, just to be clear, sometimes I will also write this as P of y of x equal to default, and I will also write it as P of y of x equal to no default, just to be like, 0 and no default I will use interchangeably. Okay, and this classifier we have seen, we saw this just based on prior. How do we classify this? We had discussed last time, but just to do a quick recap, let's have 3 candidate classifiers. So classifier 1. So always predict default. Okay, so what does that mean? H of x is equal to 1 for all x belonging to script x. Okay, so this is the first type of classifier. We are always going to say 1. Okay, then we will look at classifier 2. Which will always predict no default. So this will be h of x will be equal to 0 for all x. Okay. And finally, we will also have a classifier which is going to do like a combination of things. So which means so we will have intermediate random variable z. Okay, so z will be 0 or 1 with some probability, with probability equal to 0.8. Okay, with probability. So this is with probability. Yeah. So with the probability 0.8 with probability 0.2. In general, this will be p and this will be 1 minus p. Okay, so this is the third classifier, and what we will do is that h of x comma z is what we will do, and if we will report 0 or 1 depending upon the outcome z. Yeah, someone has any question? Okay, so this is what we will do, and now for each of these classifier we will try to predict what is the loss. Okay, so now probability that h of x is not equal to y of x, so that is the loss. So so probability of error, this is equal to so when do you have error? So you will have error when you're always going to report 1. Okay, so this h of x is always 1, but your y is not going to be same as h of x. So this is what is error. Okay, this is the only time when you will make error in the first classifier. So what is this? What is probability y not equal to 1? This is also equal to probability y equal to 0. Okay, so this is going to be, if you remember, this is nothing but p0. Okay, so this is 0.8. So this is the error here. So now similarly.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
So for classifier 3, the Z thing could be anything like tossing a coin or throwing a die, something like that.
Yes. So Z is, you imagine that we are going to do another toss, okay, with a coin with bias 0.2. If it comes out as tails, we will call it 0. Okay, and if it comes out as 1, we will call it as heads. Just that probability of getting 1 is 0.8. Probability of getting 0 is 0.2. Okay. Did I answer your question?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now for classifier 2, what is the error? This is the error that 0 and y is not equal to this. So this will be probability that y equal to 1, which is nothing but p1, which is 0.2. Okay, so this is for classifier 1 and 2. Now we will look at classifier 3 in a little bit more detail. But before that, I just want to check if everyone is following me so far. So please say it's yes if everything is clear. Okay, very good. All right, so that's nice. So now coming to the third classifier. So now for the third classifier, let me just introduce the notion of loss function. Okay, so loss function. This is just, I'm just introducing it so that you get familiar with it. Okay, so the loss function quantifies basically what you report. Okay, and what is the actual label. So, so let me just write this properly. So basically what it says is, suppose you have, so loss of 0,0, this means loss if you predict 0 and true label is 0. Okay, then loss of 0,1 is loss if you predict 0 and true label is 1. Similarly, loss of 10 is loss if prediction is 1 and true label is 0. Okay, and similarly loss of 1,1. Okay. So for most applications, what is the value of loss of 0,00? For
0.
most applications, yes. So it doesn't really, there is no loss. If you are correct, there shouldn't be any loss. Okay, so for most applications, loss of 0,0 should be equal to loss of 1,1 should be equal to 0. Okay, and now, okay, we will consider the case. So we will consider the case where L of 0,1 and L of 10. Basically, if there is an error in prediction, this loss is 1. Okay, so this is called 0,1 loss. Okay, this is called a 0,1 loss. And if you take the expected value, okay, so this is called a 0,1 loss. And if you take the expected value of a loss, so if you have this h of x, let us say, comma y, if you take the expectation of this, this is called as a risk of the classifier. Is this definition clear? So this is a definition. This is called as risk. Okay, so yeah, so let me just ask somebody, what is the expectation taken over here? What are all the random variables here? You can answer in the chat also. If you are uncomfortable to speak aloud, you can tell me in the chat. So in the definition of risk, what do you think is the expectation taken over? No, the expectation is taken on the loss. Rajneesh, Shivam, the expectation is taken on the loss function, but what are the random variables? So Devyani is saying x and y. Okay, that is correct. It is basically going to be x, y, and even h. So h may also be having a randomness there. Okay. So does everybody follow this? The expectation is taken over x, y, and h. Yeah.
Sir, isn't loss also a random variable, which is just a function of x, h, and y?
Y. Yes, correct. So whenever you have a function, so good. So So do you remember this expected value of f of x, y? So let us say, not you will get confused if I write f. So expected value of, let's say, capital G of x comma y. So Siddharth, what is this? Can you write the expression? Siddharth, what is this going
yes,
to be? Double
Sir,
integral.
Okay. Sir, I'm not able to answer right now.
Okay, calmly think. You're taking expectation over two functions, which are two random variables, which are a function of two random variables. Okay, so you're taking an expectation. So what do you need to know to take expectation?
Sir, the probability that x takes small x and y takes small y.
Exactly. So that is nothing but g x comma y. Okay, fxy of small x small y, right? So this is small x small y, dx dy, right? Where this is called as joint density function. Okay, so the expectation here is taken over x and y, which are the random variables. Do you remember this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that is what I'm asking essentially here. What are all the things that we are taking random expectation over? Is this clear now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so is everybody following me so far? Is everything clear till this point? Yes. See, don't be obligated to say yes. If you have any questions, if you don't understand, say no and let me try to explain. Okay, so Shivam, so basically here, so the expected value of a function of two random variables. Okay, if you recollect the discussion in probability, basically when you take an expectation over a function of multiple random variables, you need to know what is the joint density or joint probability mass function. Okay, so when you take an expectation over something like this, that is why you have this joint density coming in. Okay, so now when you are trying to do expectation for the loss function, x is random, y is random, that everybody understands. But if you look at this third classifier, we also have some randomness in h. There is a z associated with it, right? So depending upon z, the h behavior is changing. So there is a randomness in h itself. So that is why you may have to take expectation over x, y, and h. Shivam, any question you have specifically? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Tushar.
Sir.
Yeah, go ahead, Tushar.
Sir, we have x and y at discrete random variables, and the classifier h is also discrete.
Okay, good. So basically, whenever we have discrete, whenever we have continuous, I will use this notation for both. Okay, whenever it is discrete, you have to understand that you are doing this. Good that you asked, but you have to assume that I'm doing this. Okay. Yeah, this will be the joint mass function. Tushar, does it make sense?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay. So now, let us yeah.
So when we are taking the expected value, like how is it over h? Like h is fixed now.
Yeah, so I should have been a little more cautious. So here in this particular example, I am going to have a z, right? So h is depending on some z. So I meant that z, the randomness that is built into the classifier.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So now, so this classifier, this particular base classifier uses a lot of probability theory. Okay, so we will now use what is called as law of iterated expectations. Okay, so if you don't remember, you can check, but I think this is straightforward. So what we are going to do is basically we are going to take expectation over z, expected value of x, y given z, L of okay, so this is what we are going to do. So let me write what this law is saying. So expected value of x is equal to expected value of the conditional expectation of x given y. Okay. So this is what is called as the iterated expectation law. Okay, so yes, yeah. So this is what we are going to use here. Okay, so now the outer expectation is with respect to z. Okay, and z can take two values. So can someone tell me what is the probability that z takes a value 0? It's over here. What is the probability that z takes a value 0?
So 0.2.
0.2. So, okay, so that is 0.2, but I will write it as 1 minus p for the moment. Okay, or maybe we will take 0.2 itself. So this is 0.2, and the inner expectation will be ex of this L of h 0 y conditional on z equal to 0. Okay, okay, plus okay. So let me just make some space here. Okay, so now if you notice this expression, right? Okay, so expected value of z, okay, z and x and y are independent. Okay, so what I mean to say is, if you look at this expression, once this y and x, y and z are independent, okay, so you really don't have any interaction between this and this. Okay, so all that does, what the z is controlling is what is h of x. So what I mean to say is this is same as p of z equal to 0, expected value of x, y, okay, given z, L of, let me write the steps, okay, h, whenever z is 0, I have decided that I am going to predict 0. Okay, so this is the loss that comes of 0 y given z equal to 0. See, I'm just writing one extra step for your benefit. Okay, so this is 0.8. Am I right? Sorry, I missed the, I jumbled it. This is 0.8, this is 0.2. Okay. See, I'm trying to mimic how the default and not default is happening. Not default rate is 0.2. So that's why I'm trying to keep z equal to 1 as also 0.2. Okay, so this is 0.8 times this plus 0.2 times expected value of x, y given z, L of 1 y z equal to 1. Okay, so far everything must be clear to all of you. Yeah, so now this statement I'm going to make, please watch it carefully. So here the expectation of this function, okay, has no connection with the random variable z. Okay, so essentially x and y are independent. X and y values are independent of z. So what I mean to say is x is independent of z, and x is independent from z, and y is independent from z. Okay, so when you have this kind of a thing, we can actually write this as, sorry, this has 0.8 times this value. We can write it as expected value of x, y given I always predict this plus 0.2 times okay. So this classifier, if you see, this is the law, this is the error of you know, this classifier which always predicts 0, error of classifier 2. And this is the error of classifier 1, okay, which is always predicting 1. Okay, so when you have something like this turns out to be 0.8 times 0.2 plus 0.2 times 0.8, which is turning out to be 0.32. Okay, so this is the error. So this is the probability of error for classifier 3. In general, probability of error for classifier 3 prime, which uses the probability p and 1 minus p, will be 0.2 times p. 0.2 times 1 minus p. Okay. Plus this is 0.8. Yeah, 0.8 times p. So this is the general statement. I think I have done too many steps here. So it's a good time to pause and see if people have followed me so far. Okay, so let me just come back and ask everyone if this is clear. So let me just make some space. Okay. Okay, so any questions? I expect you to ask some questions here. Is everything okay? Siddharth, do you follow?
Yes, sir.
Ankit? See, I'm just picking a few people whom I know are answering so that they are not shy. Ankit?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So basically, let me then ask if, okay, what is C3 dash again? Okay, Rohit, thanks for asking this. See, in the classifier 3 that I chose, okay, this is a classifier which we discussed last class also. What we did in that classifier is we fixed the chances. We said we will do a coin toss. Depending upon the coin toss, we will try to say what we are going to report, right? And the coin toss, the idea of the coin toss was this coin toss will try to simulate whether the person will default or not default. So the default rate was 0.2 and not default rate was 0.8. That is why we fixed these probabilities p equal to 0.2. Okay, but instead of 0.2, if we had chosen some other p, which let us say we don't know what that p is, okay, and call it as classifier C3 dash. So C3 dash is a classifier where z equal to 0 and 1 is there, but the probability that you are reporting a 1, this is with probability p and this is with 1 minus p. Okay, so this is classifier C3 dash. And for that classifier, we computed what is the probability of error, which turned out to be this. Rohit, does that make sense?
Hello, sir.
How about, yeah, Viraj, tell me.
Sir, but in that expression, this 0.2 and point is also coming from, is it related to this P that you have taken, 0.2 and 0.8?
This one, right? This what you see here.
No, in the last expression, this 0.2, 1 minus P plus.
Okay. So this is the 0.2 that comes, see, whenever, okay. So what is this number 0.8? What will it be for classifier C3 dash? This will be P, right, Viraj?
Yes.
This will be P, correct?
Okay.
Now, what is the expected value of the loss given that I'm always reporting 0?
Yeah.
What is that?
Yep.
So that is we have done here, right? You just saw here. If I always report 0, the loss is 0.2. So that is why we wrote this as 0.2. So 1 minus p into 0.2 plus 0.2
So
into
this 0.2 is also given now per.
Yeah. So this
probabilities. Okay.
This and this.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. Does that make sense? How we got these numbers?
Yes.
Okay. So now question to the class. So if I were to choose, okay, what value of p minimizes the error of C3 prime? What value of p minimizes the error of C3 prime? Can someone tell me?
Sir, 0.
0. So that means the best value p star is 0. Okay, which is nothing but classifier 2. Okay, which is what I'm saying is with probability 0, I'm going to report 1. Okay, that means I'm always going to report 0. Okay, if I always report 0, that is nothing but classifier 2. Okay, so that is why classifier 2 is the best classifier. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, so now that we have seen this particular thing in great detail, let us move on to the next setup. Okay, so let us move on to the next setup, setup 1. So this previous setup, we called it as setup 0. So let us look at setup 1. Okay, so in setup 1, we are going to have some features. Okay, see, machine learning problems, you don't report with prior probability, right? You have to use some features. So let us introduce a discrete feature. So basically the feature will be some X, okay, which is either E, which means early taxpayer. So this we will call it as E, okay, or not an early taxpayer, not an early taxpayer. Okay, so this is what is the feature that we are going to introduce in this problem. Okay, so we are going to look at every customer, okay, who is coming for a loan. We will ask him, what is the time you paid your taxes? Okay, so this is what we are going to ask every customer. Okay, now based on our data, we are going to also look at how do people who default and how do people who don't default perform. So basically what I mean to say, if somebody who doesn't default, F0, you remember, 0 means no default, F0 of E we will ask. Okay, so this is called as class conditional density. Okay, so F0 of E is probability that X is equal to E. That means given that somebody is not a defaulter, what is the probability that he pays the tax on time? Okay, so this is what is called as F0 of E. Fine, and as you can think, person who is not paying a default is actually a honest person, so he will also likely to pay the taxes early. So this number we will take it as 0.9. Okay, so this is what, see, this is where machine learning comes, right? You look at features and the feature should be able to tell you the nature of the customer. Okay, so given that somebody is not a defaulter, okay, you collect all the people who have not defaulted. For historically, you look at these people and then you look at how many of them are actually paying or taxes on time or earlier. So this will be a high number. So that is what we are going to call it as F0 of E, which is this probability. Similarly, we will also have, okay, let me ask this. What is F0 of any? Can someone tell me, just based on what I have written? What is F0 of any? You can tell in the chat also.
Sir, 0.1.
Yeah, very good. Okay, so everybody understands this, right? Because you would have seen this P of X equal to E, Y equal to 0 plus P of any given Y equal to 0. This is equal to 1. So this is conditional probability is also a probability. Okay, so this will be 0.1. Thanks for answering. So like we will also F1 of E. Okay, this is the probability that X is equal to paying taxes early, but he's actually a defaulter. Okay, so can this happen? Yes, of course it can happen. There are all kinds of people in this world, right? So for this particular case, we will assume that this is 0.05. But the chance is low. See, somebody, if you look at all the historical defaulters, and then you look at what proportion of them have actually paid their taxes early, this will be a lesser number because there is some propensity, like somebody who is a cheat does not have particular inclination to pay taxes on time. Okay, so similar, not early will. Okay, so this is all here so far. Now, given this, what we need to do, we need to predict somebody. Okay, so now let's say this is given. So let me ask people who are here. So if somebody approaches you for a loan, you are the bank manager, and you find that that person has paid the taxes early. So he's a E. So what will you do? Will you give the loan or not give the loan? Okay, very good. So everybody understands this. So let us just formally see why you have to give a loan here. Okay, so let us look at what is called. So this is called as what you saw before, P0, P0, P1. This was called as priors. Okay, this was 0.8, 0.2. This is called as priors. Okay, what you have, F0 of X, F1 of X, right, where X can take E or any. This is called as class conditional density. Okay, so since X is a in this particular case, X is discrete, so you can think of class conditional mass function. Okay, if you want. But anyway, so now let us look at what is called as posterior. So posterior again is defined as Q0 of E. Okay, what does this mean? This is by definition probability that Y is 0 given X is E. Okay, so this is what is called as posterior. All right. So basically we are asking the reverse question. Okay, so you can look at data, you can predict what is the prior. How do you predict what is the prior? Given that you have millions of customers, how do you predict prior? Can someone tell me? How can you estimate prior?
Number of default by
Exactly. Yes, very good. Okay, so that is prior. And how do you estimate class conditional densities? How do you estimate this? Anybody? How do you estimate F0 and F1? See, things are going to get very complicated very soon. Okay, so please pay attention. Try to answer my questions. Viranch, how do you estimate F0, F1?
So from the given probabilities or something?
No. So you have a bank. You have already looked at bank. Okay, so you have a lot of customers. So this is your historical customers. Okay, so these are your customers. So there is some person who has not, like, let us say A, B, C, like this. You have many customers, A, B, B, okay, C, and many customers. If I have to estimate how many people will pay loans, I mean, what is the probability that they don't default? I look at how many defaulters are there. These are all the defaulters. Okay, so basically, yeah. So basically, prior will be total defaulters by total customers. Okay, this is your prior. And class conditional density, what I will do is I will look at all the defaulters. Okay, so let us say A, B, B, C, D, D. These are all the defaulters. E. All these people are defaulters. I will look at them and I will look at how many times they are early taxpayer. So this is an early taxpayer. Okay, this is an early taxpayer. So what I will do is F of, so basically I want to predict F1 of E, right? What is this? The probability that X is equal to E given Y is equal to 0. So what I will do is I will look at number of early taxpayers, defaulting taxpayers divided by total number of defaulters. So this will give me this estimate, right? Does that make sense?
So 0 is for not defaulters, right?
Okay. This Y is equal to 1. Sorry. So basically, I will look at all the customers who have defaulted, and among them, whoever are early tax players, that number divided by total defaulters. Yes, who was that? Bhavna, you corrected me, right?
Yes, yes.
Is it clear now? Is this correct?
Yes, sir.
Does everybody follow? Is it clear so far? If it is not, please let me know. Okay. Otherwise, it's a big deal. Things are going to get very complicated from here. Okay. Not complicated, messy. Yeah,
So
go ahead.
So once more that thing. So you just corrected now that
Yeah,
thing
yeah.
once
So
more.
basically, we want to estimate what is the probability that somebody is an early taxpayer, given that the person is a defaulter. Okay, so you want to estimate this. So what you have is your past data. You look at all the people who have defaulted and who have paid the taxes on time. Okay, that number divided by the total defaulters, that is the proportion of people who are actually going to be early taxpayers as well as defaulters amongst the defaulter population. So that is our estimate for P of X equal to E given Y equal to 1. Pooja, does that make sense?
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
so that is how we estimate this. So you can estimate this from data. Okay, this also you can estimate from data. What you cannot estimate is the posterior. How do you tell this other problem? Given that some new person is coming to you, okay, let us say this candidate comes, okay, he is an early taxpayer. Okay, but you need to predict what is the chance he will default. So this is a brand new problem. This person you have not seen before. So how do you do this? So for this, we have what is called as Bayes rule. Okay, so using the Bayes rule here, this will be actually P of Y equal to 0, X equal to E divided by, okay, P of, this is a definition of conditional probability. Okay, and we can expand upon this a little bit. So this here we will use Bayes rule. This will be probability Y equal to 0 given probability X equal to E given Y equal to 0 divided by summation small y. Okay, y is 0 or 1. Okay, so if we expand upon this properly, Q0 of E, this will be P0 F0 of E divided by P0 F0 of E plus P1 F1 of E. Okay, so which is nothing but, what is P0 number for our problem? What is the P?
0.8.
Okay, so this is 0.8. And what is, oh, sorry, here, na? 0.8. Okay, 0.8. And what is F0 of E? Anybody?
So 0.9. 0.9.
0.9. Okay, so this is, so 0.8 into 0.9 plus, this will be, what is P1? 0.2, right? What is F1 of E?
0.05.
Yes. Okay, so can someone quickly simplify and give me this answer? What is this number?
So 0.98.
Yes, Siddharth.
0.98.
Okay, 0.986. We will approximate it as 0.99. Okay. So this is 0.986. Simply for the sake of convenience, we'll approximate it as 0.99. So now, what is Q1 of E? Yes, what is Q1 of E?
So 0.0 and then.
Yeah. See, you have to be a little bit careful, okay? See, F0 of E plus F0 of NE is 1, okay? But here in the posterior, okay, Q0 of E and Q1 of E is 1. So what I'm saying is, note of caution. Just you see the definition, it will be clear, but okay, F0 of E plus f1 of f0 of E plus f0 of NE, this is 1, right? If you see, f0 of E plus f0 of NE is 1. But in the case of posterior, q0 of E plus q1 of E is 1. That is just the definition, because q1 of E, the definition of q1 of E is probability that y equal to 1 given x is equal to E. Okay, so you have to be a little bit careful when you deal with these numbers. So similarly, you can show q0 of NE, okay, will be p0 f0 of NE divided by p0 f0 of NE plus p1 f1 of NE. Okay, this p0, I have written this. P0 is okay, so this is I have not written. Okay, so this is 0.8 times f0 of NE. What is f0 of NE? 0.1. Okay, divided by 0.8 into 0.1 plus 0.2 into 0.95. So what is this number? Quick, people.
.296.
0.296. So we will approximate. Okay, so as 0.3, this is actually 0.296. Okay, we'll approximate it as 0.3, and q1 of NE we will approximate it as 0.7. Okay, so what have we done? So we had class conditional density. We estimated the posterior. Okay, but we have nowhere come to the classifier yet. So finally we have to come with a classifier. Okay, so classifier is what? Classifier is a function from your features to y. You need to predict from here what are you going to say. Okay, so if y is confusing, let me say 0, 1. Okay, so this is what we want to do. So now the classifier that I am proposing is called as Bayes classifier. So this is going to report 0 if q0 of x is greater than or equal to q1 of x. Okay, so basically if it is more likely that the label is 0, given that you are seeing this evidence, I will say 0. 1 if q1 of x is bigger than q0 of x. Okay, so you may object because both sides have written greater or equal to. So let's have a tie-breaking rule like this. Okay, so this is called as my Bayes classifier. Okay, we will do much more complicated Bayes classifier, but let us look at the simple Bayes classifier first. Okay, so now given this is the Bayes classifier, what is going to be HB of E? Yes, what is going to be HB of E? Is it so confusing? What's going on?
0.
Okay, so HB of E is 0. So given that somebody is early lone pair, I'm just going to assume that he's not going to default. Okay, and HB of NE is going to be 1. Okay, so this is, so intuitively at least, is it clear to people that this will be the optimal classifier? We will prove it formally, but intuitively, is it clear that this will be like an optimal classifier? Yes. Is there any questions here? I can repeat. Okay, Siddharth, we will prove it properly later. But what we have essentially done is we have looked at given an evidence, which is like somebody is given an X, whether if it's a E, we have looked at what is the chance that he is a defaulter versus what is the chance that he is not a defaulter. Whichever is higher, I am reporting that. Okay, so we will show it properly later tomorrow that it is optimal. But at least, do you understand the steps, Siddharth? Any questions here? Okay, how about everybody else? I don't hear from a few people like Devyani, Pooja. All of you are quiet. Nidish, Viranj, everything clear?
So you're saying it's optimal provided the loss function was what you defined it earlier.
Yes, yes. So right now we are only looking at the loss function, which is 0-1 loss, which is nothing but probability of error. So where is that? So it's somewhere ahead. But given that this is the loss function, okay, I'm saying this is optimal. Okay, that we will show it properly tomorrow. But intuitively, see, we are trying to minimize the loss error, probability of error. Okay, that 0-1 loss function turns out to be probability of error. Okay, so we are trying to minimize that. And in that case, this one turns out to be optimal. It's intuitively clear at least, but we will prove it properly. Is it clear, Devyani? Any
Okay,
questions
sir.
you had? Yeah.
No, sir.
Okay. We will prove it properly tomorrow as we go through the math. But yeah. Okay. So okay, I think this is a good time to stop. Perhaps not. We will just do one last thing and then we will stop. Let us see. Okay, maybe it's time to stop because it's almost 3. All right, so we will continue from this tomorrow, which is next class is not tomorrow, it is on Thursday. We will continue from here. Okay, so the agenda is we will develop this. So right now, give you a brief sketch of what we are planning to do. So basically, we looked at first, we looked at just the priors. With just the priors, we looked at what is the best classifier. And now, what we looked at discrete features. Suppose if there is a discrete feature, what is the best classifier? Next, we will look at continuous features, okay? And then we will look at what is the best classifier. Finally, we will look at if there are many features for every customer, okay? And then we will look at what is the best classifier. Like that, we will try to develop this, okay? And then we will answer more questions that is here. And then, of course, we will also give some assignments and you will get to implement all of this and see how it works. So that is a plan for this week. Okay, so tomorrow we will continue from this and we will develop this more. Okay, so all right, so let us just stop here. I think this is a good point to stop. So I will see you all tomorrow. All right, so thank you, everybody.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.